Hey! What are you doing in my kitchen? What? You want to know more about salts? Oddly enough, I have them all laid out on the counter here. Let's look at them. The first kind of salt probably everybody has is your Morton salt. This is the stuff you're going to find on the little shakers on your tabletop and in restaurants. It's a real fine salt. It's hard to pinch. You can almost oversalt dishes when you use this. This is not my favorite salt to use by a long shot. Matter of fact, I've had this container probably as long as I'm an adult. Just don't use it, don't like it. Kosher salt. You can get this at the grocery store. It's real cheap actually. It's got more of a texture to it, so you can pinch it with your fingers. It's easier to season dishes with. This is very similar to sea salt, however it's a lot cheaper. Flake salt is a specialty salt. It is thin and has a bit of a pyramid kind of shape. It's got a real thin texture to it. It's good for any situations where your salt needs to dissolve fairly quickly, like in cold water, things like that. I don't use this too often for pickling and for brining, so it's a specialty salt. A sea salt is very similar to kosher. Sometimes it's a little bit chunkier though. This is a Mediterranean sea salt. And you'll see it's got a real big chunk to it. This is good for finishing dishes. You don't want to use this when you're cooking per se. You want to use them at the end. It's so big, it creates a crunchy pop in your mouth. So this is considered a finishing salt. Here's a Celtic Sea Salt. This is kind of fancy. It's something I don't use too often, but this is also considered a finishing salt. It's real chunky. It's got a real random, haphazard kind of texture to it. You're going to use this to finish your dishes. This contains a lot of minerals still. It hasn't been bleached and prepped like the other salts. It still has a lot of its minerals and flavors in it. That's why it has a touch of gray still. Again, this is good for finishing. And the fun stuff, this is Sriracha Salt. This is something I made with Celtic Sea Salt. And I'll show you how to do it in the video here in a second. You'll see it's got the real big chunky texture. I'm going to use it for finishing. It's got the nice pink hue to it. It's got a bunch of Sriracha goodness absorbed into it. And that's Sriracha Salt. And that was a brief rundown on salts. You want to know how to make Sriracha Salt at home? You want to know what to do with the Sriracha Salt once you make it? Check out my other videos on YouTube, subscribe to my channel so you get updates when I make new videos, or check out my website at ColumbusCOOK.com.